rider to driving down the road. I don't know, Jules sticking down your spine, no you're not alone. It's a ghost.
You are listening to NDPR. What is up, Nancy nerds? Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to Nancy's Dead Public Radio, episode 3. So this week I am going to be touching on the subject of hip hop. That's going to be one of the main focuses. That little clip you heard at the beginning of the intro is it's a song that my buddy Chris and I recorded a few years ago, and there's lots more where that came from on SoundCloud. I'll put the link in the description. But yeah, that's a little taste of what we got going on. Just a little chorus. Thought that'd be fun to kind of show you guys a little bit of what it sounds like. It's pretty straightforward, but also not exactly what is coming out nowadays as far as hip hop goes. We keep things relatively old school, while throwing some of our just nerdy shit in, little metaphors here and there, and also I don't know, just throwing in our different kind of take on what we think hip hop should sound like and stuff. So I think I'll start going back to a time in the past that I did not care for rap of any kind. I was one of those. I grew up just your typical white kid from at the time, upper middle class family, and had no connection from ages birth to 11 of really any problems aside from the typical, I had a argument with my parents, or my sisters are annoying today, or getting picked on in school because I'm pale. I didn't know how the world worked yet. And so because of that, I didn't really connect with any of the hip hop that I heard. And honestly, I'm sure a lot of people can vouch for me where, if you're a young white kid in San Jose, going to a private school and stuff, even though a lot of our students were diverse, it just was mainly like white culture, just left and right, And the point I'm trying to get to is when you're raised that way and you're around those kinds of people, it's kind of like cool to talk shit on rap. Like that's like, I don't know. It seemed as though people look down on any of the people as lesser than if they listen to hip hop. It's like, oh, they're, Timmy's poor and that's why he listens to rap. We didn't have like, I didn't grow up around a lot of racism. So I was very, very fortunate with that. And that's why it was kind of a shock when I moved to Nevada from California. I still live here in Carson City. And there's plenty of things that I really do enjoy about it out here, but we have a very, very stubborn, stuck in the past mentality with the majority of people, the OGs, if you will. And so it was a pretty big culture shock to suddenly hear racist jokes and people just talking shit. But it's like I always say, easy to talk shit when you don't have black people to talk shit in front of. You're not at risk of getting your fucking ass kicked. So yeah, a lot of Proud Boy mentality in this state. I still love it here. There's plenty that is changing, that is a lot of minds are broadening, surprisingly, and much to the dismay of a lot of the clientele I had, especially when I was bartending. You hear some fucked up stuff from people that it's just amazing what thought process people have going on in their judgmental brains at all times. So anyway, getting off topic, but I was one of those people that's like that standard go to, you can't spell crap without rap. Like, aren't I cool, guys? I don't like rap. And I I felt bad, or I feel bad now that, but I can admit that looking back on my taste in music, the closest thing I had to rap, um, was, you know, your Limp Bizkit and even like Kid Rock's first album. Um, Even Korn can get a little hip hoppy at times back then. Um, Rage Against the Machine. And I think the only real rap that I started getting into was because my buddy listened to Cypress Hill, and he always showed me all the music I wasn't allowed to listen to in a Christian household. So it was Cypress Hill. That was probably the first rap where I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then of course, Mr. Eminem himself, he just blew up. You know, it was 1998, I want to say 97, around there, that it was really cool to suddenly listen to rap. And that's racism in itself, is like, oh, it's rap's cool as long as it's this white boy with bleach blonde hair. We're okay with that. Uh, so anyway, time passed and I didn't go out of my way to look for any rap or anything. I just kind of listened to it as it came to me. I never sought any artist out or anything. And I just kind of decided I'm just not really a hip hop fan, you know? And I couldn't have been more wrong. I had just not found the right artists yet, you know? There was a lot of, all the hip hop I was hearing was the stuff they play at school dances and shit. And let's face it, all nostalgia aside, that was a really bad time for hip hop. Really, really bad. I mean, I won't go into it because I don't want to insult anybody or their taste. You're allowed to like whatever you want. But yeah, something changed, and I can't believe I'm about to give this egotistical prick any more airtime. Not that anyone's really watching this, but I'm gonna say it. Kanye West came out with College Dropout, and I will admit that, you know, Gold Digger caught my ear. I think one of the main reasons for that was of the marijuana I was smoking, and my girlfriend at the time, she enjoyed a handful of hip hop artists. And of course I wanted to be cool and keep her happy. It was like the first love of my life. And you know, you know how it goes when you're listening to something that your significant other likes, you do it just because you love them. And so anyway, um, yeah, College Dropout. That was the first hip hop album I actually purchased with my own money. Like, I didn't get it burnt or anything like that. I went to Target and picked it up. And I'll be honest, I never looked back from uh, exploring hip hop after that. I was like, oh shit, there's a lot of thought process that's going into this. This is before he lost his fucking mind. But uh and it's too bad that you can't really listen to it with the same ears as you used to, but you can't deny College Dropout, masterpiece. Mwah, it's perfection. So I moved on to my buddy Kim. Shout out Kim, love you, miss you. um she showed me a few more artists. She got me into Nas. Nas just blew my mind. The Far Side, she showed me them too. And I had realized that I had heard Runnin', which is that song is worth all the hype. It's used all the time It's actually making a comeback right now. It's in like commercials and shit. But I had heard that song on a skate video. And when she showed me The Far Side, I was like, oh shit, I know this song. And so yeah, I got into The Far Side, Nas, Kanye. And then what really changed the game for me was when I first heard The Cool by Lupe Fiasco. I was floored. Like, that changed the game for me. He just proved all hip hop haters wrong, it showed me I didn't understand the genre whatsoever. And the creativity in it, and I'm still a huge critic. So I would say I dislike probably a solid 60 to 75% of hip hop that I hear. I'm just a prick that way, but I respect it more than I used to, even stuff I don't like. It's gotten really, really creative over the years, and that's really cool. But yeah, Lupe, his nerdy ass, and he's just so freaking smart. His lyrics are just brilliant. And um, so I played that on repeat. I mean, just incredible. And yeah, so like I was saying, I started listening to hip hop, and it was always just something in the background. Never thought for a second I would ever dabble in something like that, because once you start listening to it and appreciating it as a songwriter, you realize that this is no easy feat. It's not someone just talking into a microphone like my lazy ass is doing right now. Oh, by the way, found this shirt online. I did not make this. I didn't even get it made for me. This was just made, and I stumbled across it on Walmart.com of all fucking places. Pretty cool, right? It's like it was made for me. Anyway, so yeah, there's nothing easy about hip hop at all. From everything from making the beats to especially the lyricism, this is not easy shit. And I know that a lot of people simply just don't like the sound of it. It's like abrasive to them or something. And that's okay too. But, the same thing goes for metal and jazz. There's always anything that's to an extreme like that. A lot of people, they're like, well, I like the words, I just can't listen to it. It drives me crazy. And I get that. I totally get that. But, you can't just say that just anyone can do hip hop. It's not true. And we see proof of that every day with this mumble rap bullshit. I respect all genres. That one right there, you're not getting any love from me. Anyone's 5-year-old, anyone's 3-year-old toddler can go skirt into a freaking microphone. It's bullshit. I'm a hater. If you got something to say, that's fine. If you go, oh, it's fun. It's not meant to be listened to seriously. Fair, fine. But you can't say that they're talented. I'm sorry. You just can't. So that's my full blown opinion. I'm going to try to not get that way about most subjects, because I don't want to put anyone off, but that's one I will stick by. Travis Scott, you fucking suck, dude. Anyway, moving on. My buddy Chris, we did not know each other at all. We went to school together. I only went to Douglas High for a year for 10th grade. And he was going there at the time, but we just never crossed paths. And after I left and I told a little bit of the backstory, I think it was episode 1, about Hope, the band that I had joined, and we wanted a keyboard player. And one day, Alex just walked in. He was like the creator / leader of the band. Always got to have one. And he just walked in with Chris one day, and Chris was quiet, had cool hair, was stoned out of his mind, as was I, and we just clicked like right away. It was like we didn't even have really an introduction conversation or anything. We were the only two in the band that smoked cigarettes. So as smokers, previous or current, know, smoke break is a good time to get to know someone. And So we had a lot of one-on-one time, and yeah, we just clicked. It was effortless. And so long story short, Hope broke up because they all moved to LA. It was Alex, Ryan, and Chris. They all bounced and went to LA to pursue their dreams, and I was stuck here, which is fine, totally fine. But Chris started hanging out with an LA crowd and was still playing keys, but there's a lot of, rappers out there. And so a lot of the people he was hanging out with would, freestyle at parties and stuff. And Chris has always liked hip hop. So he started dabbling. He and some buddies would just kind of, smoke bowls and hit record. And so what started out as kind of a fun little goofy pastime, he had a little group called the Trilogy, and they recorded, I mean, a buttload of songs. And they're messy, they're hilarious, but there is this like little nugget when you listen to it and you go, shit, there's some talent here. This isn't just them fucking around, of course it has moments where they are just messing around, but you know even Mac Miller himself, RIP, he said like when he first started it was going to be like just messing around. And look where that went musically. I mean, holy shit, genius. So anyway, Chris, I think started to realize within himself and from what people around him were telling him is like, dude, you're fucking good. And he had never had training, nothing like that. He would definitely get pointers from the guys he was hanging out with and stuff. And I'll never forget, we hadn't spoken in a while, not because we were mad at each other or anything, but living our own lives. And, there's the, hey, what's up, man? Here every once in a while. But for the most part, we were just doing our thing. And my buddy Robert had just visited LA and he came back and he had some tracks on his iPod. For those kids that are watching, an iPod is actually what we used to have to play our music on. And no, it wasn't a phone. So he came back from a visit to LA and put on what Chris had been doing. And I hadn't heard Chris rap, so I had no fucking clue what he sounded like. And Robert hadn't even filled me in on what Chris was doing exactly. So he presses play and we're just hanging out, and I'm listening to it, and suddenly I can kind of hear a familiarity in one of the voices because there's all these guys rapping like back and forth and stuff. And I go, Robert, is that Chris? And he goes, yeah, dude. And I was like, no. And he's like, yeah, dude, that's Chris. And I was like, holy shit. And I was just so impressed and happy for him because, like, he was always so rad about being a part of the band. He's like, I'm not a keyboard player. We're like, we don't fucking care. None of us have had really any real training. I think Ryan did. He was by far the best at his instrument in the whole band. Fantastic drummer. But yeah, so to see him like really blossom on his own, and own it as his own talent and caring about it enough to like perfect it and keep progressing and get better and better. So I was just floored. I was like, holy shit. I think I texted him like right away, like, dude, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, I don't know, it's not that big of a deal. And I'm like, no, man, this is not even just as your friend. Like, this is good. So time passes and he calls me one day. I think it was 2014. Yeah, I think it was about 2014. And he had this track that had some empty space on it. And he was like, would you be interested? And I got butterflies. Like, I'd played so many shows and recorded so many songs up to that point, but like just the mere thought of jumping into the R&B or hip hop scene, I was just like, oh fuck. Like, I don't think I could do that. And he's like, nah, man, it's like, it's a chill song. You don't have to act like a hard ass or anything. It's like a love song. And I was like, okay, good. Just right for my pussy ass. So I listened to it on my headphones, at work, and I was working graveyard at the time, so stocking shelves and shit. And yeah, so I just kept playing it over and over, and I wrote all the lyrics to it that were for my part that night. I was just feeling it. I was listening to a lot of Drake at the time too. Uh, so I had inspiration because uh, if there's anything that someone as white as me can try to emulate, it's probably Drake. So anyway, I got home, put the track on my iPad, and just gave it a shot. Went to town and sent it his way. He loved it. He and his producer friend kind of touched it up a little bit, and it's actually available on SoundCloud. You can hear it now. But long story less long. Some more time goes by. We didn't work together for a long time, and I thought it was maybe kind of like a one and done thing, which is cool. I was totally fine with that. And he got a beat package that he had been kind of holding under wraps, and there was all this drama. This is a long story, but he eventually got this package deal, and uh he gave me another song that he had me in mind for. And so I gave it a try again. And I'm not exactly sure when he's on the show, maybe he'll have some memories that I don't, but somehow, some way, we just started going to town on this package of amazing beats by a dude that goes by Jeff Slaps. I mean, one of the most talented beat players or makers I've ever encountered. His beats can go from hyphy as hell that you want to just party all night long to just incorporating these melodies that are just beautiful, almost bring you to tears. They're just gorgeous. His range is out of this world. So Jeff, if you see this, I don't know you personally. I know you know of me and I know of you. If you do happen to see this, you're the shit. Thank you so much for your talent, and we think of you as like a third person to our duo. So thanks, man. So Chris and we spent almost 2 years straight FaceTiming, because he lives in LA still. We FaceTimed and wrote and recorded and produced and mixed over the phone, new age postal service style. And we just kept pumping them out. I mean, we did 3 albums and an EP, plus some extra tracks that have yet to see the light of day. We got all that done in like 2 years, and I could not be more proud of what we've done, and my comfort level, thanks to Chris, like for including me in the first place, and getting me out of my shell. I was kind of facing a lot of uh, just writer's block and uninspired, and I was bored. I was bored with playing by myself and writing for myself and stuff, and I was missing a little camaraderie. Um, so it's really cool, and we do have, like I said, we've got 3 albums and an EP out, and he's got a bunch of albums as well. I'll be sneaking his music in here and there in the videos, the intros and stuff, and also, like I said, putting the link in the description. So definitely check him out. He goes by SaberWolf. I think I said a V instead of a B there. So SaberWolf. Always capitalize the W, by the way. It's very important. Anyway, so if you guys feel the need to check out some kind of, it's kind of tacky to use the term nerd rap, but it's nerd rap. I mean, if you're a nerd and you like reading and heartbreak and Marvel and Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, you'll have a good time. It's super fun. There's a lot of serious stuff in there too. We always try to find a way to incorporate subject matter of our nerddom to explain pretty heavy subject matters. So yeah, I hope you guys like it. Give it a try. It's always good to expand your as a creative person. It's always good to just try out something that makes you uncomfortable at first. Just go for it, and you'd be surprised. I got to the point where uh, if I didn't hit up at least one of our tracks, I was like messing up. I got addicted to it, and it just started coming more and more easily. And yeah, it was a blast. Really opened my mind in a different way. So that's always fun. So if you guys are, thinking about learning an instrument, or if you're uh, wanting to try something new, everything you're doing is feeling kind of stale, stagnant, stuck in a spot, try writing a country song, try writing a really poppy song, try writing a disco song, funk. So just try something weird. Just make noise. It always helps. So I'm not trying to get preachy or anything, but I love when people create, and I know it helps me. And I think that if that's something you can pass on and tell people that, hey, you're not alone. If you feel that block, everybody feels it. Your favorite artist feels it all the time. I promise you. And don't give up. Don't force anything, because then you'll write the worst song you've ever heard, and you're going to hate it. And then you're going to take an even longer break. At least that's how I am. I'm like, I don't have it anymore. Fuck this. Maybe I was always bad. I was watching a documentary on comedians last night. And they just interview like countless comedians, and it's called Misery Loves Comedy instead of Company. Misery Loves Comedy. And it's true, uh, comedians are usually some of the most unstable, unhappy people, which is one of the most ironic things about making people laugh. It makes sense when you really think about it, but yeah, it's cool. And it goes for, I would never, ever try stand-up comedy. That is terrifying. That takes some guts. So props to them. Even comedians that aren't my style of humor, props to you for even trying, because I could never do that. And I've been on stage countless times. I could never do that shit. But the point I'm trying to make is every kind of art is similar, where you get that high. And they talk about it in the documentary where they would just get addicted and like, okay, I've done a show here. Okay, I'm going to do another show tonight, just at a different bar, because they didn't want to stop. And a lot of them are recovering drug addicts, so they have addicted personalities already. But yeah, same goes for music, where you write something that you're like, damn, that sucked, and you almost want to quit. And stand-up comics deal with that all the time. People aren't laughing. People are brutal, and they start to question, like, was I ever funny? Was I ever talented? It happens, and it sucks, and it happens to the best of us, and you just have to keep going. Show must go on. So yeah, if you're thinking about starting playing music or drawing or photography, just do it. Shia LaBeouf over here. Do it. So yeah, I don't think I've got any more notes on that shit. Can't wait to have him on the show. I still haven't fully figured out how I'm going to do that, but if we can write and record 3.5 albums, this many miles away from each other, then we should be able to figure this out. So looking forward to that. But love you, Chris. You're the man. SaberWolf all fucking day. And he just did a little feature on my song Plastic Owls that is available now. He just did it in a day and murdered it. So you can find that at nancysdead.bandcamp.com. The song's called Plastic Owls. You can find the original all instrumental version that's going to be on my upcoming album Metafornicate. Looking forward to finishing that album, but I thought it'd be cool to have a version of Plastic Owls with Chris rapping over it because I wasn't doing any vocals anyway, just some oohs and ahs, and he just did a great job. It was cool for him to hop on something that I was doing instead of the other way around. It was a first for us. So he really did a good job, and you can find it now. I'm very proud of it. Yeah, so please check it out. And yeah, the last thing that I do want to talk about before I talk about the subject matter of the next episode is I got really old school the other day, and I wasn't quite in the mood to journal or write my book. I didn't have any work at the time to finish. And I had been meaning to make and distribute some physical copies of Reasonable Magician. So bought some blank CDs, old school style. I had some leftover labels from one of my old albums called Comeback. You can find that on YouTube if you search my full name, Miles Davis Ricketts. Actually, it's on the channel that you're fucking watching right now. So, yeah, so you can listen to that if you want. But I had labels left over from that, but they were already printed. So I was like, shit. I've got some black spray paint. So anyway, went to town on it and yeah, made three different versions of it. Just yeah, little homemade art for it. Pretty basic, pretty straight and to the point, and nobody really buys CDs anymore. But fuck it. And I'm thinking the only way I'm going to be able to get them out to people is probably by mail. I even checked with my local music shop. They sell instruments. Shout out, play your own music. They're amazing. Love you, Vince. But he said they just don't sell, so he doesn't really carry local music anymore or any like audio. It's just instruments and lessons, which is fine. And I might find somewhere to sell them. We'll see. But if you're not from around here, then I think I'm going to buy some envelopes and just mail them out. So if you're interested, hit me up, whether it's in a comment or you'll find a way to get a hold of me. This one's pretty cool. This is the last one, but yeah, your normal front, but this one's cool. I thought add some labels underneath and then spray painted it so it looks embossed. Fucking ghetto tech, but I've always been that way, so fuck it. So yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching. And next week, I think I'm going to finally touch on a subject matter that is going to be pretty heavy duty, but I think I need to get it out and hopefully be able to relate it to people going through a similar situation, whether in the past or now. But I think I'm going to touch on my alcoholism and stuff. I won't keep it super negative Nancy, if you will, zing. But I do want to touch on it. It has a lot to do with my life, who I am, how I view the world, and music is always involved in addiction of some form. You know, we've lost so many good musicians to it, and there's just a lot to be said about it. So I think that'll be the next episode, and I won't keep it negative Nancy the whole time. Like I said, it'll be other stuff too, but I think we got to tackle it. So in the meantime, like and subscribe. I will not say that other thing about the like button, but thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you next time. All right, Nancy nerds, stick around. See you later.